Let's fold this star. The directions come from the book Unit Origami by Tomoko Fusei. This is published by Japan Publications, Inc. So, we are going to fold this from a square piece of paper. So I'm going to take this square piece of paper. What you want to do is the side you want out, whatever the color is you want out, put that down. So I'm working on the back side of the paper here. And what I'm going to do, first of all, is fold a hamburger fold and a hot dog fold. Now, since the paper is square, it's really kind of hard to tell which one is the hamburger fold and which one's the hot dog fold, but do them both. So there's one of them, turn it over. You're essentially folding the piece of paper in half so that the corners line up. Okay, that establishes the center of the paper right here. Then fold two taco folds. So corner to corner. I'm hungry. Lunchtime yet? Alright, so there's one taco fold, and here's the other taco fold. So you should have 4 lines all headed through the center here, making a bunch of 45-degree angles there, or for those of you who know radians, pi over 4. We now want to, what do we want to do? I want to bisect the angles at the corner here. So I'm going to take this, just fold it so that the edge falls along that diagonal. Trying to make sure it goes right through the corner. The more care you have there, the better it's going to look later. So get that right through there. While I'm here, I'm going to do the other one. Kind of helps me to line things up because those both will come to the same spot. Turns out that that spot where those corners come to is interesting later. All right. I'm going to open that up, rotate 90, and repeat. Ended up rotated 180. See, look at where that corner comes in. Is right where that previous fold hits the diagonal. Open that up and do it again on the next corner. And that's going to go right into that point right there. Passes through the center. And you're going to do this on each of the 4 corners. Now you have bisected all of those angles. What's happened now is you've created an octagon in the middle. And that octagon is the octagon that's going to be going around our star. Okay, so everything's going to get folded into there. Okay. Now, let's see. We're going to start by folding one of these back down in there. Let's just, so this bottom left corner, let's fold it right up in there. Okay. Now, I'm going to pay attention to those, to that octagon. So I've just folded one edge of the octagon. There's a point right here, which is going to be one corner of the octagon, one vertex, and then there's a point right there that's going to be the next one. So I'm going to get to that point, that's the next one. And I'm going to do a, open this up and do a spread squash. As I look underneath here, I see this is the next edge of that octagon. So I want that to be folded down flat. It's creating this little flap here. And I want to be very careful and get that flap to line up just right. Keep that thing and fold this down. First I'm going to fold it down to the left, and then I'm going to fold it down to the right. I'm trying to make sure that this fold that I'm making runs right up through that center line there. Okay, so I've got this flap. Stick it off to the left for now. From this point here, I'm going to follow along this edge until I get to the next corner of where my octagon's going to be. Now there's a line that I can kind of see here. I don't know if you can see it very well. That crease is coming right down to this corner. There's a crease there and a crease there coming right to there. That's the next point I want. I'm going to find that next edge, which is this fold going all the way out there. I want to lie that flat. So it's creating a flap. This is a big flap this time. There's an edge that you've already made that's got to be tight. And then again, this crease that I'm making down in the middle is going to run right up along that edge. So here we go. This point should end up right on the corner over there. It doesn't look like a corner, but it will be. So I fold that this way, I fold it the other way just to crease that both directions. I've made a flap. Fold it to the left. Rotate and repeat. So you find that next corner right here. That next edge is coming up this way, so that's going to be folded all the way flat. It creates another small flap. They're going to keep alternating, small flap, big flap. And that gets folded down to the left, to the right, fold it over to the left, and keep going. You're going to run into a little bit of difficulty at the end. We're going to, as you'll see, I'm going to open it up, but I'm just going to keep working. For a moment, keep finding that next edge that's going out. Each one of these edges is one of those bisections that we did of the angle in the corner there, right? So there's a flap. That's already there. That should go right out to that corner. Fold it this way, fold it that way. And you can see it's starting to get a little tight here, so I'm gonna get some of this stuff out of the way, and then I'll fold it back again later. So there's the next corner. There's the next edge coming out. There's a total of 8 that I have to do. 4 small flaps, 4 big flaps. We started with a small flap, so I'm going to end with a big flap. And if I've counted right, this should be the last flap. This one's already been done. Then that one's already been done. The next one's already been done. I'm trying to just fold them all in now. This takes a little bit of finesse, but you're just getting all those things folded back in. Rotating everything around to the left there. You're going to have big flaps, little flaps hiding underneath. Big flaps, little flaps hiding underneath. So now I want to look at the small flaps. So I'm going to open this up a little bit. I'm going to grab a paper clip, the universal tool. Because what I want to do is I want to get inside of these flaps, spread them open. I'm going to do what's called a spread squash. I'm going to spread that open, lining this middle line up with the middle line there. Squashing it all the way down to the point. And you can see I've got one point of my star right there. It's beautiful. Fold that big flap back down. Rotate pi over 2, 90 degrees, whatever you want to call it, to the next little flap. Do the same thing. I like using the paper clip to let me reach down into some tight places where my fingers are too fat and fumbly here. Beautiful. So now I've got 4 of those points done, and now I got the big flaps. All right. The big flaps take a little more work, well, a lot more, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to open it up, stick my finger down in there. You see that, it opens up. So open that up, spread it out, push it down, squash it down. So this point, I'm lining that point right up with that middle line there. Make sure that's out of the way. and I get a kite here, and I get this kite shape. Problem is, when I try to do the next one, this is in the way. So I'm going to get part of it out of the way. And you could do this right-handed or left-handed. I always do it the same direction. And I'm going to take this right side. Essentially, I'm going to take this top point here and fold it down till it touches that right there. Right to that point right there. Now, because of some of the geometry that we'll have to discuss in another video, when I make that fold, it goes right through the center. Right through the center. Now, I am going to take that fold that I just made and reverse it. I'm going to open this up. Right, I'm going to open this up, and there's two folds that are going to reverse here. This little fold here on that's flapped up edge right now, going up and down, and the fold that I just made are both going to be reversed as I tuck this inside. Again, the point here is going to the point there, but I'm going to do it. Take that valley fold, turn it into a mountain, tuck that all underneath. This whole thing goes in there, and that's got to reverse and put it back down again. I end up making a pocket that I'm going to be able to slide things right in here. Okay, but this, notice right here, this corner, this was the point that was the top of my kite, and it's tucked right in, right into that point right there. Okay. Now that gets out of the way for the next flap to come up, and then I can do exactly the same thing. I'm going to spread it out, squash it down, this lining this top point up right with that line going right up through the middle, creasing everything down. I got my kite. I'm going to take that top over to the left side right there, create these folds, create this fold right there. It should go right through the middle. Should go right through the middle. Okay. Then I'm going to reverse that fold. There's two pieces of paper that get folded here, so that part of it's not going to be reversed. That part's going to fold back down flat again. This thing right here is what's going to be reversed. So that gets pushed inside. This whole thing gets pushed inside. You've got that. And repeat. You got to do this 4 times. The last one, this last flap, has this little bit in the way. This little flap hangs over. I'm just going to get it out of the way for the moment. Put a little crease in it. It's okay. We're going to come back to that in a minute. And now I'm going to take that little last piece that that flap that I flipped over there and pull it out like that. So now each one of these big flaps has been turned into a kite, which has been modified so that they have little flaps going out. Each of those flaps is now going to be tucked into one of the pockets that you made. So I can open up this pocket here and tuck that flap in. I can open up this pocket here, tuck this flap in. Open up this pocket, tuck that flap in. The last one is the trickiest one because there's not as much maneuverability. I love that little tool. So tuck that flap into that pocket. And there you go. A beautiful 8-pointed star inside of a regular octagon.